Soulmate breaking news: they thought you were still waiting, until they discovered you've completely changed, and now they're afraid they lost you forever. My beloved child, listen carefully, because this message begins with a realization your soulmate never expected to have. They thought you were still waiting. They thought your heart was still standing in the same place where they left it. They thought that if they ever decided to return, they could simply walk back into your life and find everything exactly as they remembered it. But something happened. Something changed. And now they are beginning to understand that the person they walked away from is no longer the same person. You have changed. Your mindset has changed. Your standards have changed. Your priorities have changed. Your relationship with yourself has changed. And most importantly, your dependence on their attention has disappeared. My beloved child, this is why their heart feels unsettled right now. They may have assumed that your silence meant waiting. They may have mistaken your patience for permanent availability. They may have believed that because you once loved them deeply, you would always remain emotionally accessible. But they are discovering something very different. You did not remain frozen in the past. While they were thinking about what they wanted, you were learning what you deserved. While they were trying to understand their feelings, you were rebuilding your peace. While they were assuming you would eventually return to them, you were quietly returning to yourself. And now, something has made them realize it. Perhaps they heard something about you. Perhaps they saw something. Perhaps someone mentioned your name. Perhaps they noticed a change in your life. Perhaps they discovered that you are no longer speaking about them. Perhaps they realized that your attention is somewhere else. Whatever the trigger was, the emotional impact has been significant. Because suddenly, they are facing a possibility they never wanted to consider: maybe they actually lost you. My beloved child, do not rush past that sentence. They may have thought losing your relationship was temporary, but now they are wondering whether they lost access to your heart permanently. That is a completely different realization. When someone believes you will always be available, they can delay decisions. They can postpone conversations. They can hide behind excuses. They can tell themselves there will always be another opportunity. But when they realize the person they left behind has changed, the comfort of that assumption disappears. Suddenly, the future becomes uncertain. Suddenly, they cannot predict your reaction. Suddenly, they cannot assume you will welcome them with the same open heart. And that uncertainty can awaken feelings they buried for a long time. My beloved child, your soulmate may be asking themselves questions tonight that they avoided for months or even years. What if they really moved on? What if they no longer love me? What if they met someone who treats them better? What if they are happier without me? What if I had my chance and wasted it? What if I return and they say no? These questions are powerful because they force a person to confront consequences. And perhaps your soulmate is finally confronting theirs. They may remember every time they ignored your message. Every time they delayed a conversation. Every time they chose pride over vulnerability. Every time they acted as though your feelings were not important. Every time they assumed you would understand. Every time they expected patience without giving clarity. They may remember those moments differently now because they are looking at them from the perspective of possible permanent loss. When you were available, they could minimize what happened. Now that your availability has disappeared, the memories feel heavier. My beloved child, this is not your signal to chase them. It is your signal to remain exactly where your growth has brought you. You do not need to go backward to prove that you still care. You do not need to send a message just because you sense that they are thinking about you. You do not need to create a situation to get their attention. You do not need to make them jealous. You do not need to explain how much you have changed. Your life will communicate that more powerfully than any message ever could. The greatest proof of transformation is not telling someone you changed. It is living differently. And you have been doing that. You have learned to wake up without checking whether they contacted you. You have learned to go through your day without constantly wondering what they are doing. You have learned to make decisions without asking how they might react. You have learned to smile again. You have learned to enjoy moments without needing them to witness your happiness. You have learned that your future cannot be placed in the hands of someone who has not decided whether they want to be part of it. My beloved child, that is why this moment feels so different. They may have expected to return to the old version of you. Instead, they are encountering someone stronger. And perhaps this is frightening them because they do not know whether they still fit into your new life. Think about that. Once, you were wondering whether you fit into theirs. Now they are wondering whether they fit into yours. Once, you were waiting for them to decide. Now they are wondering whether you have already decided. Once, you were afraid of losing them. Now they are afraid of losing you. The emotional balance has shifted. But remember, this is not about winning. Love is not a competition. The goal is not to make someone suffer because they made you suffer. The goal is not revenge. The goal is clarity. If they have genuinely grown, this shift can create a healthier dynamic. If they have not, the same shift will protect you from repeating the past. Either way, your growth serves you. My beloved child, there may have been a moment recently when they heard something about your life and suddenly became quiet. Maybe someone told them that you were doing better. Maybe someone mentioned that you were focused on your goals. Maybe they saw a picture where you looked peaceful. Maybe they heard that you were receiving attention from someone else. Maybe they discovered that you had stopped asking about them. A simple piece of information can become emotionally powerful when it confirms a fear that has been hiding beneath the surface. They may have thought, they will never really move on. Then suddenly they see evidence that you have. That can feel like a door closing. And even if the door is not completely closed, they may no longer know how to open it. My beloved child, this is where their desperation may begin. Not necessarily dramatic desperation. It may be quiet. They may look at your profile. They may ask mutual friends about you. They may revisit old conversations. They may listen to songs that remind them of you. They may find themselves thinking about places you visited together. They may remember your voice. They may remember how you encouraged them. They may remember how safe they felt around you. They may remember the way you looked at them when they were struggling. They may remember things they once considered ordinary. And now those ordinary moments may feel precious. That is one of the strange ways regret works. When something is available, we sometimes fail to recognize its significance. When it becomes uncertain, we finally understand its value. My beloved child, perhaps they are discovering that your presence was not ordinary at all. They may have met other people. They may have experienced other conversations. They may have tried to replace the connection. But something kept feeling different. Perhaps they could find attention, but not understanding. They could find attraction, but not emotional safety. They could find companionship, but not the same depth. And eventually, comparisons began happening inside their mind. They may not even want to compare people, but the comparison happens naturally when one connection leaves a deep impression. They remember you. And now that you have changed, the memory of you may become even stronger because they can no longer assume they have unlimited access to you. My beloved child, understand this clearly. Someone missing you does not automatically mean they are ready. Their feelings can be real while their readiness is incomplete. That is why you must not let their emotional reaction become your emotional responsibility. If they are confused, let them process. If they are afraid, let them confront the fear. If they regret their choices, let them learn from the regret. You do not need to rescue them from the consequences of their own decisions. Your role is not to make their path easier. Your role is to remain honest about your own needs. If they eventually return, ask yourself whether they are bringing something new or simply repeating something old. Are they bringing clarity or confusion? Are they bringing consistency or temporary emotion? Are they bringing accountability or excuses? Are they bringing a real plan or only nostalgia? Those questions will reveal everything. My beloved child, perhaps you have been wondering why you suddenly feel less emotionally attached than before. That is not necessarily a sign that you never loved them. It may be a sign that your love has matured. There is a stage of healing where you can still care deeply about someone while no longer needing them to return. That stage is powerful. You can wish them well without waiting for them. You can remember the good without romanticizing the bad. You can acknowledge the connection without ignoring the lessons. You can say, I loved you, while also saying, I deserve better. Those two truths can exist together. And perhaps that is exactly where you are now. My beloved child, your soulmate may be sensing that. They may realize that your emotional attachment is no longer something they can rely on. They may realize that if they want your attention, they will need to earn it through consistency. They may realize that your trust cannot be restored with one apology. They may realize that you have boundaries now. And while that may make them nervous, it can also make them respect you more. A person who genuinely wants to build something meaningful will not be offended by healthy boundaries. They will appreciate them. They will understand that trust is valuable. They will know that your heart is not a toy. My beloved child, perhaps the most surprising part is that they may now be afraid that someone else will see what they once overlooked. They may imagine another person discovering your kindness. Another person hearing your dreams. Another person supporting your goals. Another person receiving your affection. Another person being present when you need comfort. And that thought can create jealousy. But be careful. Jealousy is not proof of love. It can be evidence of attachment, insecurity, or fear of losing control. What matters is what they do with those feelings. A mature person turns jealousy into honesty and commitment. An immature person turns jealousy into manipulation. Watch the difference. If they genuinely want you, they will not try to control you. They will communicate. They will respect your freedom. They will show you why a second chance could be different. My beloved child, perhaps the news they heard was simply that you are happy. That alone can be powerful. Because when they left, they may have imagined that your life would become smaller without them. They may have thought you would remain heartbroken. They may have believed that you would continue looking backward. But now they see you moving forward. And your happiness becomes a mirror. It asks them, why did I walk away from someone who could still shine without me? That question can hurt. But pain can create growth if someone is willing to face it. My beloved child, never dim your light to make someone feel comfortable returning. If your growth makes them insecure, let them grow too. You are not responsible for becoming smaller so another person can feel important. You are not responsible for hiding your success. You are not responsible for pretending you are still waiting. Your happiness is not an attack against them. Your progress is not revenge. Your peace is not cruelty. You are simply living. And you are allowed to live fully. My beloved child, perhaps the biggest internal shift happening within your soulmate is the realization that they cannot simply rely on the history you share. History matters, but history alone cannot build a future. If they return, they need to create new memories. They need to demonstrate new behavior. They need to show that they have learned. They need to understand that the old relationship cannot simply be restarted like a paused movie. Too much has happened. Too much has changed. You have changed. They have changed. The world has changed. So if there is a reunion, it must be a new beginning rather than a repetition of the old story. My beloved child, perhaps they are rehearsing what they would say to you. They may imagine conversations in their mind. They may wonder whether to apologize first or explain themselves first. They may wonder whether you are angry. They may wonder whether you would even answer. They may wonder if you would recognize the person they have become. These internal rehearsals can happen long before a message is sent. But do not obsess over whether they are happening. Focus on your own readiness. If they contact you, you will decide then. You do not need to pre-write every possible response. You do not need to predict every outcome. You can simply be present. My beloved child, one of the greatest mistakes people make in soulmate situations is confusing emotional intensity with destiny. A strong feeling does not automatically mean something is healthy. A deep connection does not automatically mean someone should remain in your life. A powerful history does not automatically guarantee a future. What matters is whether the relationship can support both people's growth. If it can, beautiful things are possible. If it cannot, release can also be beautiful. You do not have to force one particular ending. Let the truth decide. My beloved child, maybe your soulmate once believed you would always be available because they saw how deeply you cared. They may have thought, they love me too much to leave. But they misunderstood something. Loving deeply does not mean tolerating everything. Sometimes the deepest form of self-love is walking away from what keeps breaking your heart. Sometimes the strongest statement of love is refusing to participate in unhealthy patterns. Sometimes distance is not punishment. It is protection. And your soulmate may finally understand that. They may be looking at your absence and realizing that you were not trying to manipulate them. You were trying to heal. That distinction can change everything. My beloved child, if they truly want another chance, let them approach you with humility. Let them acknowledge the past. Let them accept that you may have questions. Let them understand that trust takes time. Let them prove that their words are not temporary emotions. And do not feel guilty for needing proof. Trust is not demanded. It is earned. Respect is not demanded. It is demonstrated. Love is not demanded. It is offered freely and consistently. My beloved child, perhaps there is a specific moment coming when they finally decide that silence is more painful than vulnerability. That moment may come when they realize that you are truly moving forward. Maybe they hear that you have a new opportunity. Maybe they hear that you are spending time with new people. Maybe they see that you are happier. Maybe someone tells them that you no longer mention them. Whatever the trigger, they may finally decide to step forward. But remember, you do not need to create the trigger. Life will unfold on its own. Do not manipulate circumstances. Let truth reveal itself naturally. My beloved child, there is another reason this message matters. Sometimes people only understand what they had when they experience life without it. Your soulmate may have learned that not every connection feels the same. They may have realized that some people can be physically present while emotionally absent. They may have realized that chemistry is not enough. They may have realized that attention is not the same as understanding. They may have realized that a relationship can look perfect from the outside while feeling empty inside. And those lessons may have reminded them of you. Not because you were flawless, but because there was something genuine between you. Something that left an impression. Something that survived distance. Something that remained in memory. My beloved child, if they are thinking about you now, do not immediately assume you need to respond energetically. You do not need to send signals. You do not need to manifest them into your life through anxiety. Let go of the need to control. Your peace is more valuable than certainty. Sometimes we become so desperate to know what another person is thinking that we forget to listen to ourselves. Ask yourself what your heart needs today. Maybe it needs rest. Maybe it needs closure. Maybe it needs hope. Maybe it needs permission to move forward. Whatever it needs, honor it. My beloved child, perhaps you are about to enter a season where you receive more attention than before. That may happen because your confidence has changed. When people stop seeking approval, they often become more attractive because their presence becomes authentic. But again, attention is not the goal. Healthy connection is the goal. Do not choose someone simply because they choose you. Choose someone because they respect you. Because they communicate. Because they are consistent. Because they bring peace. Because they can stand beside you during difficult seasons, not just when everything is exciting. If your soulmate can become that person, there may be something worth exploring. If they cannot, your future still has possibilities beyond them. My beloved child, your life is larger than one relationship. Never forget that. Your identity is larger than someone's opinion. Your future is larger than someone's hesitation. Your worth is larger than someone's inability to recognize it. You are allowed to build a beautiful life regardless of who joins you. And ironically, that freedom may be exactly what makes someone finally recognize how much they want to be part of it. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate has been waiting for the right time. But now they are realizing that there may never be a perfect time. There is only the courage to act or the regret of not acting. They may be weighing those options. And perhaps they are closer to choosing courage. But again, you do not need to push them. Let them choose. If they step forward, listen. If they remain silent, keep moving. Either outcome gives you clarity. My beloved child, perhaps the title of this message could have been, "They thought you were still waiting." But the deeper truth is this: you are no longer waiting. You are living. There is a huge difference. Waiting puts your life on pause. Living allows your future to unfold. You can leave room for love without putting your life on hold. You can remain open without remaining stuck. You can believe in possibility without sacrificing reality. That is the balance you have learned. My beloved child, imagine your soulmate seeing you now through the eyes of someone who finally understands your strength. They may see that you survived what they thought would break you. They may see that you rebuilt what they helped destroy. They may see that you